Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Death, she must have been your will, up on beneath the reaper's veil. With your voice my belly sung.
Christmas and the Old Country, 1966.
So drunk. Candle, candle on my clock.
Delivering mail during the 60s in coal and steel towns, your patrons were often immigrants who came from what people called the Old Country. They spoke very little English. Some of them couldn't even write. A piece of mail from the Old Country was like gold to these people. The mailman was a welcome sight around these parts of town because he was the messenger and only connection to their roots and the life they had left behind. Many of these people had left what was then controlled by the Soviet Union, so some of the writing had been crossed out of the letters they received. But just having something tangible from their relatives or friends was all that mattered. We often had these good folks waiting for us on their porches, hoping for any small piece of mail from home to be delivered. On Christmas Eve, I was out late delivering the mail, and I was finishing up for the day. I saw a light in a window with a woman sitting there looking out. She looked lonely. Ironically, the last letter I had to deliver was to her house. I knocked on her door and told her I had a postage due for her. Sadly and in broken English, she said she didn't have any money. I told her not to worry about it. She said to me, "Thank you." I said, "Merry Christmas." In almost perfect English, she said, "Merry Christmas" back.
I've become what I most fear, and I know there's no such thing as ghosts, but I have seen the demon host.
Well, it was my first time delivering mail in Eureka 40. I had an early morning shift that day. I parked my Jeep at the start of the swing, locked the door, and headed out to make my deliveries. A few houses into the swing, I heard some keys jingling. Thought maybe someone was walking behind me, but there was nobody there. A little while later, I heard that jingling again, but I didn't see anybody. I didn't see anything. Weird part is, when I got back to my Jeep, I realized I don't have my keys. I started retracing my steps backwards, went up and down the streets, but there were no keys to be found. The only person I saw out that morning was the old gas station clerk over on First Street. He just so happened to be coming out of the store when I walked back up there, and he asked me if I was looking for something. I said, "Yeah, I lost my Jeep keys." And he says, "Why don't you go check that stone house up the street?" I knew exactly what house he was talking about, but we never delivered there. That house had been vacant for years since the mines closed down. It was getting dark by the time I got up to that house. It looked completely abandoned. The porch was all overgrown with leaves and there was junk buried in them. And on one of the posts, there was a bent, rusty nail with my keys hanging on it. I grabbed those keys and ran back to the Jeep. But boy, something was nagging me. You see, the town was named after the Eureka mine. Everyone who worked there used to live in Eureka. By the time the mine was long gone, only some descendants of the old miners still lived there. The rest of the town was deserted. I decided to go back up to that gas station. The clerk was closing out the shop, and I asked him, I said, "How did you know those keys would be there?" And he looks at me and he says, "The miner, the old miner,